Hello. Today we're talking about Ember tooling. First, I want to talk about um, the Ember Inspector, which is a Chrome extension. I think Firefox as well. That really helps with debugging and stuff like that. So I'll show a few small tricks on there, and then we'll look at VS Code's language server for Ember, the one that's called unstable. Um, just a name, but it's pretty stable and has lots of really cool features. Yeah, and from there, probably just I mean that'll probably be most of the content. If you have any other ideas, definitely would. Um, if you have any ideas, I can talk about those as well. But hit me up in the chat and we'll see. Okay, so I'm gonna be demoing my the side project that I work on, but basically it's a editor for static blog, and it requires no setup, but what it does is basically writes to Git, and so if you have a Markdown blog, it'll write to that blog Git repository, and then when you hit publish in here, it'll merge that pull request. And so you bring your own blog, you bring your own deployment strategy and stuff, as long as it's in GitHub for now and it's written in Markdown, it should work. Currently testing it mainly on Empress because that's what I write with, but coming up soon I'll be testing it on Jekyll and other types of blogs. Yeah, so here, let me dig in here real quick. I know I'm kind of had the OBS open there, but let me just close that. Yeah, so here, so we have, let me open this up. I have it already installed. So if you hit, I'm in Devtools here and hit Ember. By the way, if, let's see, Ember. So the inspector is open source. There is the repo here, and it has two versions, Firefox and Chrome. Yeah, so I have that installed. So you can search for that on the Chrome extension store. Okay, so this is what the inspector looks like. Basically, it has a few different areas here. The one you'll probably use the most is components and container. Routes too, I guess, yeah. Those are pretty useful. And then data, if you're using Ember data, which I am in this case. As you can see, there are two different model types here. So let me just get into the component tab here. And you can see here that I have, it shows all the different components that are on this page. You can hover over those, you can, I think I hit the eyeball. Technically, yeah, jumps to the code here. Yeah, so that's pretty nice. And then you have this little picker here. So you can click that and then you can find the component you're looking for on this side. Yeah, so those aren't components. So yeah, yeah. So these are all pretty normal. Link to is built in. These are all. Your post list is the one I kind of want to focus on here. So if you click on that, you get this view here that basically has all like the current state of this component, of the post lists component. It looks like it has args. So it gives a blog, as you can see here. So blog equals, and you click on that, and that will give you some information. But let's go back to the post list. Yeah, so the blog's there. This little icon here on the right, if you click that, it'll paste that whatever is here into your console. And so here we see the proxy. You can expand that, and then you can play with that. Yeah, so blog is a Ember data model. And so if I right click on this, I can do store as global variable. And now it's temp1. And I can do temp1 dot get name. Oh, interesting. So looks like, oh, that's okay. The temp1 is just args dot blog, I think. Yes, there we go. So yeah, dot blog dot get and then name. So those are the args that are passed in. So that you can do some interesting stuff like that. And then from there, you see these other values here, and these are just the values on component. So I have the get store session, or get store service and a session service, and then I have the blog is set on the actual component as well, and then I have posts, which is an array here. And so you can do the same thing here. Hit the E, and you can get all the posts. Yeah, so that works really well. And let's see here. It's a nice debugging trick. And like if you do kind of like we did here, let's see, store as global variable. And so I just stored just that post as temp2. And I mean, if I was to do anything on this page, that variable stays in the console and I can keep playing with it. So let's see here. Content, let's see, there's a title somewhere in here. So notes for using TypeScript. Okay, so that's the first one here. So if I do temp2.set title, and then just do hello, right? Enter, and you can see the UI change there. So that's all reactive. And then, yeah, so from there we can move on. And obviously you can search and you can hide and close that, open that. You have routes. So here we see we are inside of dashboard site index, and you can get the route on controller from here, and you can see the URL pattern. So let's see, if I hit route, you see the values on the route, the instantiated route. And yes, I mean, those are really useful, all the really useful features. Same with controller, and you can do the whole E thing as well. Self-explanatory. Ember data models are pretty similar. I mean, you get like kind of the view, you click on those, you have whatever other content they have. So here we have some computer properties, and they actually get evaluated, so you can see the value of them. Yeah, so I mean, that's pretty simple. You can filter by different types. So I don't have any other types, so that we won't see anything there. Yeah, so that's pretty useful. Deprecations is a different tool. I think let me reload that. It looks like I don't have any, which is probably not correct, or maybe they just don't show up on this page. Info is just the general info about what you're using, different libraries. So looks like Firebase puts their version in here, probably through Ember Fire. So that's useful. Ember data, Ember Inspector itself. I guess your own app version is in here. The promises. I generally don't use this, but I think it's pretty useful actually. So let me clean this out, and I'll open that. You can see promises are pending, they got fulfilled. So if something's stuck and you don't know what's going on, and you kind of want to see where it's coming from, I guess, you can jump in here and see where, like what route or where it's coming from exactly. So that's pretty useful. Otherwise, I think that's mostly what you can do there. I wonder what trace promises does. Let's see here. Interesting. So then okay, tracing promise. Yeah, I'm not really sure what that is. If you do know, definitely post down in the comments. Containers is where things get a little interesting as well. So you have controllers, which you can access from the routes section. Location, which is for the router itself, just the different location types. Never actually been in here, which is interesting. So you can see some information here. So your root URL, different functions and stuff that are available, which you can probably try out if you used E. Render, the DOM render, it's like this private, so you don't really worry about that. Routes, the actual router, its current state, so current path, current route name. So this is kind of nice for debugging your route, current URL. That's nice. And then services, this is I think the main one that you would generally access through the container here. And like for me, I have a git store service, which has these tasks on it. Yeah, and some values and stuff like that. And let's see, I have a post service, which is pretty unused. Notifications. Yeah, so I mean that's self-explanatory. Yeah, let's just move on here. View rendering. Okay, let me clear this out and refresh. And yeah, I haven't used this either. The inspector has actually gotten a lot of good updates, and yeah, there's a lot of new features in here. I think they improved the component UI a lot. Yeah, this is kind of interesting. I mean, it says it's not accurate, but if you have something that's really slow, you could probably jump in, and if there's anything obvious that sticks out here, you could probably help out a little bit. Yeah, so like link to so yeah, that's interesting. So I mean that's really that's kind of how the inspector works. If you haven't used it, it's pretty sweet for debugging debugging your Ember code, your Ember app, and yeah, give it a try if you haven't tried that. You can also hit this button here that opens up the issues if there's any bugs. Looks like there's some bugs, but I mean, it looks pretty lots of closed issues, so it's pretty active. And if you want to contribute as well, that would probably help the community. Okay, let's see. Let me just resize that. Actually, I'll close this and go back to posts. I have so this is the actual app here. The extension that you should definitely install is the Ember, so unstable Ember language server here. By LifeArt. If you haven't seen this, definitely check it out, install it. You get some cool features like autocomplete in a lot of cases. And there are also plugins that you can install to, as you can see, different add-ons for this language server. You basically install these add-ons in your app as a dev dependency, and you have sort of like accessibility add-on, type templates, which basically, if you're using TypeScript, you get better autocomplete in your code and like linting based on types. Add-on docs, fast CLI. Yeah, so I mean, yeah, so a lot of good things there. give those a try. I definitely recommend the type templates. Accessibility one is pretty nice too. Let's see. Yeah, so you get autocomplete for rule and aria tags. Definitely worthwhile. I don't know why the browser just opens in the window I'm not using. A little frustrating there. So yeah, let me just give you a little quick demo of that. So we have this, not a great page for demoing. Let's see here, dashboard, site, post, template. Okay, we have a post editor in here. So if I right click on here, you can do go to definition. That jumps to the post editor component, which is super nice. That's one of the features that works on nested components as well. Go to definition. I think I don't know if those work. Yeah, that doesn't work. Peak definition. Yeah, so like that will show the location in line. And then also if you hit Ember file usage here on the left, bottom left, you'll see where this component, well, actually not this component. So this is it's saying that this is in this template, which is correct. And it's rendered. So that's for route templates. Basically shows you the structure there. But if I go into the post editor, it'll show me where the post editor is used. So it's showing where we are, and then these are the two locations where it's used. So if I click one of those, you'll see the post editors there. So close that. And then if I do I actually don't think I have typed templates installed here. To type that on. Interesting. I thought I did. Or maybe it's just VS Code acting up. Hold on. So if you have issues with this add-on, which it does say unstable in the title, so but I mean technically it's stable. If you hit output and then select unstable language server, you will see that there are it looks like it thinks there's an error. I think that's old though. Clear that, and then if you click on Ember down here, it'll reload the language server. Okay, so I have two different add-ons, the test runner, which is very alpha, and then my own, which I don't really use, don't use yet. Yeah, so that, okay, so it's running. Let's see, oops. Posts. Huh, interesting, it's not working for some reason. I wonder if it's my add-on that's interrupting something. But usually it does autocomplete for you. It might be because I have some other extension that's interrupting it. Yeah, so it'll autocomplete component names. Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure there's other features. I just can't think of the top of my head. Some of those are, but yeah, that's definitely worth installing if you haven't installed that. I think it also helps with linting. And then this test runner feature, if I open up a test here, integration, this one, and I hover over, it says it renders is in progress. One has one asserts, and yeah, it's loading. So looks like it failed maybe, but yep. So I mean, that's, like I said, that's like an alpha add-on. It's not really released yet, but basically features like that coming out all the time for it. Yeah, definitely give it a go. Okay, I mean that's the end of that. Just wanted to point out that there's also the Ember website, which is pretty useful. If you haven't been on here, there's the different doc sections, so the guides, which is definitely recommended going through the tutorial. The reference docs, which are useful for, I mean, obviously if you're just coding and you don't know what's what, or to find something. So there's Ember Data and Ember CLI are both on here. Actually, Ember CLI has a different URL, but yeah, and those are versioned. That's pretty useful. Go back here and check out the community. You have the Discord community, which is basically where everybody jumps on and talks through problems, whatever. There's a lot of channels, help channel, etc. Definitely check that out if you're getting started. And let's see, there is this secret one that I just found out, but a secret page that isn't linked anywhere that I know of. But basically you can see what the changes are from one version to a different version, which you could do technically in Git, but this goes across repos. So like Ember CLI, Ember Data. So if I do find changes, so you get like how many changes there are, deprecations, yeah, and then you get like a quick command for Ember CLI update if you want to run a automated update for this version, and the code mods as well. So those are all useful. Definitely check out Ember CLI update. Yeah, and so you see Ember Data, Ember CLI. Yeah, I'd love to see Ember Inspector on here too. That would be great. But I think this is like a new thing. It's not even linked anywhere on the page yet, on the website. So yeah, so definitely use that for whatever, like debugging purposes, or it's like, oh, what new features have just came out. So yeah, so I mean that's pretty much it. Not gonna keep rambling. Hope this was useful for you. Yeah, leave any comments in the chat, and I'll see you later.